Welcome, Gemini, to the month of December 2018. I'm Megan of North Star Astrology, and I'm sorry if you can't see that. There. Okay, I'm just trying to stay cool, and I just turned my air conditioner on. It's been very humid here. Anyway, Gemini, this is for you, for those of you with your sun, moon, and rising signs. And in the third and or first air sign in the lineup, but you're the third sun sign and you rule the third house of communications, and your ruler is currently retrograde, Mercury. Anyway, on December 1st, getting right to it, your ruling planet Mercury moves into the sign of Scorpio, as it actually does temporarily go retrograde. I believe that's what's happening. Okay, into your 6th house of health, work, and service given, rather than being in your 7th house in Sagittarius. Okay, and that happens at 11:13 on December 1st. Then on December 1st as well, your ruling planet Mercury sextiles the moon. Once the two here, so your ruling planet in the 6th, so from the 6th to the 4th houses, the moon in the earth sign of Virgo is now positively, or on December 1st, will be positively sextiling Mercury retrograde. So things may have a bit of a, there may be a bit of confusion mentally, but because this is a positive aspect with the sextile to the moon in Virgo, things will be, there will be a need to use common sense within the workplace, or if you're working from home, it will be very positively aspected. Then on December 2nd, Venus, which has been transiting your 5th house of romance and creativity in Libra, then enters Scorpio and also into your 6th house of health and work and service given, and that happens at 17 hours 3 minutes. Then on December 3rd, the following day, Uranus, the planet Uranus, which has been transiting your 11th house of friendships and hopes, goals, and wishes in Aries, then opposes or makes the opposition between the disruptive, sudden planet of Uranus to the moon now in Libra. So this then asks you to be emotionally aware of your friends' needs, as well as things or your possibility of being aware that you might possibly develop a friendship that turns romantic. Even though there's an opposition, this, as I call it, is the point of awareness, and so there may be something very positively coming out of the opposition. Then 2 days later, on December 5th, the moon conjuncts your ruling planet in Scorpio, in your 6th house of work and health. And this then will give you even more of an emotional intensity and need to be very careful how you speak or what you sign in any kind of contract ways within the workforce or otherwise some kind of agreement maybe for any kind of job you're seeking or on any application. This asks you to be emotionally honest with whatever it is that you're expressing about yourself. Then, on December 6th, your ruling planet Mercury goes direct. So, get out of here, retrograde! Okay? And now, that the following day, you'll have even more of an incentive or clarity. Now that your ruling planet will go direct on December 6th, you'll have clarity. Then on December 7th at 7:22, the new moon occurs in your 7th house of relationships in Sagittarius. And I love it when the moon is in your opposite sun sign of Sagittarius, because it will also bring you a certain amount of joy and a newness. You may develop or renew marital ties, or you may develop a new significant relationship, or something new is on the horizon on December 7th. And that happens at 15 degrees Sagittarius 7 minutes. Then on December 8th, Uranus in Aries in your 11th house trines the building new moon. And this then is very harmonious from the 11th to the 7th houses, 7-11, and gives you possibly the ability to create harmony with your significant other, as well as between friends. And I don't know, it's amazing. It's going to be really beautiful. It's just one of those, I love trines anyway, who doesn't? Then on December 10th, Uranus squares the moon. Once the moon goes into your 8th house, into Capricorn, and now from the 8th to the 11th houses, this somewhat gives you possibly a bit of irritation in trying to ascertain your wishes or something you hoped for from others' resources, in asking possibly either for a loan or as from a friend, and that might not come through for you or something like that. Hopefully that's not the case. Then on December 12th, your ruling planet Mercury moves into the sign of Sagittarius. Excuse me. And now Mercury in the positive fire sign of Sagittarius gives you the ability to communicate more openly with significant others and or your business partners or any such matter. You'll be doing a great deal of communicating on December 12th. Then the following day, December 13th, Uranus sextiles the moon, and the moon, the moon in Aquarius. So once the moon goes into your 9th house and then sextiles Uranus and Aries in your 11th, you then have this ability to, oops, there's a fallen angel in our midst. Okay, then you now have the ability to emotionally philosophize in unique and sometimes somewhat eccentric ways with your friends. And then on December 15th at 11:50, the first quarter moon occurs in Pisces at 23 degrees Pisces, (27 minutes) in your 10th house of career, ego, and the public eye. Okay, and this is very good as you have a very perhaps altruistic sense about your career standings, like you want it to be much more than it actually is at times. And that's very beautiful once the moon goes into your 10th house. Then on December 15th as well, the sun squares the first quarter phase moon. And with this square, there may be a bit of challenging emotions with yourself in or with others in your as in with your colleagues. So there may be arguments. So, but now that Mercury is direct, just be mindful that you're not too direct. In other words, whoa. Okay. Then on December 18th at 7:22, Uranus conjuncts the moon in Aries in your 11th house. And here again, much like Uranus, the moon gives you somewhat more of a there is a wow factor, like perhaps sudden inspirational ideas in group settings, like brainstorming. Good time for that. And then on December 20th at 0 hours 43 minutes, Mars, which has been in Pisces, or went into Pisces a while, I guess not too long ago here, in your 10th house of career, now sextiles the moon in this direction to the moon in Taurus in your 12th house. So from the 10th to the 12th houses at 0 hours 43 minutes, the moon sextiling Mars gives you that very quite psychic, positively psychic ability to know what your public wants or needs in the sense of your career, whatever that may be. Then, on December 21st, the Sun leaves Sagittarius and moves into the sign of Capricorn, into your 8th house. So now things are going to get a bit more serious. And that happens at 22 hours, 24 minutes. Then too, the following day, December 22nd, at 14 hours, 22 minutes, Uranus sextiles the moon again. Once the moon comes into your sign, Gemini, into your 1st house of the self and body. So watch out that you don't get so possibly this can cause overindulgence in or at parties or in a group sense or with friends. Watch out for that. Even though, however, it's still a very positive, short but sweet 60-degree aspect from Uranus to the moon. And so just watch your waistline, that's all. Then on December 22nd as well, the full moon occurs in your 2nd house of money in Cancer at 0 hours 49 minutes. So now this axis of the Sun now in Capricorn is shining a light on valuing others or obtaining others as resources versus what you can illuminate on your own and expressing yourself vehemently and or nurturingly at this point in time. Then on December 24th, Uranus squares the waning full moon. So in other words, 2 days later now, the moon is still full, but it's waning, and now Uranus in Aries now squares the waning full moon. And from your 11th to your 2nd houses, you now have this ability to be a bit emotionally take charge, perhaps, and or maybe there could be a sense of frustration, but it's only short-lived, and that's in terms of money with friends and or asking for help in that sense. Then on December 26th, Merry Christmas, by the way, but the day after Christmas, December 26th, at 15 hours 38 minutes, Uranus trines the moon. Once the moon goes into Leo here in your 3rd house, your naturally residing 3rd house of communications. So things can be showy in terms of communications, but yet harmoniously and or somewhat inspiring, yet sometimes eccentric and or fiery with how you communicate, yet still, since it's a very harmonious trine between the moon and Uranus, you're going to have a very pleasant time because, as you know, it's the holidays. And the day after Christmas, you're going to show a sense of that's giving you that sense of emotional inspiration, perhaps, or happiness in many ways. Then 2 days later from that, at 16 hours 28 minutes, Mars in Pisces opposes the moon in Virgo in your 4th house of the home. So Mars is over here behind the angel. And this then gives you that much needed awareness of needing emotional alone time, time to be at home rather than always focusing so much on your career. However, if you didn't get the time off or whatever, it may be a bit of a challenge, but it gives you perhaps a spiritual as well as a down-to-earth, common sense awareness of your emotional needs versus the career needs. Then on December 29th, the last quarter moon occurs in your 5th house of romance and creativity at 7 degrees Libra, 36 minutes. And this wraps up almost the reading, or may have you ending romantic relationships or creative pursuits or creative projects at this time. Things will balance themselves out though. Then on December 30th at 22 hours 55 minutes, Uranus once again, or actually I keep forgetting that it was Mars, but at this time Uranus makes the opposition to the moon in Libra. And this then also brings you much needed awareness to whatever it is that you need to become more aware of in terms of romantic needs versus what your friends need. And this then brings me to my closing thoughts. I want you to realize that there is such a thing as peace on earth. See, the angel is no longer falling over. Anyway, I do hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And until next year, thank you so much for taking the time, your time, in watching your reading. And thank you so much for looking up upon the North Star. Feel free to like, give me a thumbs up, comment down below, and or feel free to subscribe.